Hi, welcome to my channel, Ignite Your Intentions. My name's Shell, and I'm going to be walking you through my goal setting that I have done for 2020. So at the moment, you can see two things on my screen. You can see the Powersheets, which has been part of my system, and also just up over here, there will also be a screenshot that I'll show you in bigger depth as we get into it. So Powersheets is by Lara Casey, which is the company is called Cultivate What Matters, and this year they really stepped up their beautiful Powersheets. I have watched them in social media for many years, and this year was the first year I started to dig in because I'm in Australia. The exchange rate and the postage is quite a substantial investment. So after watching for a little while, I knew that this was something that I wanted to buy into this year. This year for me is a lot of change around career, and I wanted to make sure that I was getting the most out of my year as much as possible. 10 years, which you do in the Powersheets as one of the activities, is that I have gotten married, I've had my children, so I've got 2 girls, I have increased my career to a point where I am on the school leadership team, and I have purchased a house and all the financial bits and pieces that go with that. So we're doing all the things that I think that you're meant to do. What was next? So this year for me is redirecting what we've done in the past and really starting to look at the future next 10 years. So I've taken steps with my husband already around financial planning and some of our goals that we want to do and travel goals that we have. So we've done some goal setting together. That was really simple. It was really simple to set up. It took us both a while to get it done, but thinking about places that we wanted to travel to, thinking about what we want our kids to be able to do and help them be, and how they are going to grow and develop, and a few big things like that. So in part of doing that, I've then narrowed down what my focus is going to be. Going through the Powersheets prep work, I narrowed it down to 8 goals, which doesn't sound very narrow, I understand that, but a couple of my goals are very straightforward and some of them are far more intensive, and because of that I actually changed the way I did my attending list. So after you do your goal setting process in here, you've got this front part which is all for your goals and going through thinking about what you want for the year, where you've been, what's important to you, then actually setting your goals is in here. And so in this part you can set, this is where I've got my, wrong way on the camera. This is where I've got my 8 goals sort of laid out. I wouldn't even say these are very tight and specific, and they're not very pretty either. These are just, when I was going through my prep work, these are the main 8 themes that I really want to take a step forward in for 2020. Plenty of other goals that are in the beginning of that Powersheets prep, but they aren't 2020's goals. They may be 2021, etc. But at least they're captured and I can reflect back on that. So for me this year, goal number 1, and I did sort of prioritize the first couple. Goal number 1 is shifting some excess weight that I have at the moment, but I got really clear about what my goal wants to be and what number I want to get to. So keeping that in mind, I want to feel strong and flexible, and I would love to be able to run 5 kilometers. I didn't put a time on that. It just said run 5 kilometers. I'm going to use Couch to 5K throughout the year as well. So I haven't even started off with Couch to 5K. I'm starting off with just healthy habits. My girls are both at an age where they're both at school now. We're still very young, but I really want to get them into trying some different things this year. So they're changing sport because we didn't have a lot of success with previous sports, so we're going to change to a different sport this year. And musical instruments are really important to our family, so make sure they learn some of that. Craft skills, just general life things. So I wanted to be really intentional with that with my kids before they get too old and they haven't got some experiences that I want them to have. My other one is I'm looking at slightly moving career changing, working into the life coach area and being a motivational speaker. Goal number 4 is going to be around budgeting. We're pretty good at it now. We've got a good little stash of cash, so that's fine. What we wanted to do is set up a self-managed superannuation fund. We've got some bigger purchases that we've got since we've purchased the house, that we've got some improvements we want to do, and just be better at managing our money so that we're working it's not working us. Both of us, my husband and I, wanted to have wider and deeper friendships with new and existing people. So I am working on the deepening the friendships. The working on new people is something that I'm going to not tackle right now because I'm not sure how to. If you have any ideas on how to meet new people when you're already married and kids, etc., I think there's a few people that I can think of off the top of my head that I might reach out to, but it's definitely something that we want to be better at. I think that when your kids get really young, if you're not careful, your circle really narrows down, and that did for us. And so we both wrote down in social goals that we want to be more active. So that's going to be our goal for 2020. I kind of rolled spiritual and intellect goal together, and making sure that I was really clear about doing my spiritual lessons. So I work with Sage Goddess. She's got an online class called Soul Shift. It's amazeballs. I've been doing it for a year and a half. Love it hard. That I'm also reading and learning in both spiritual and personal development, and just continue to learn, because one of my values is that I love to learn. None of these have got a lot of mini steps to them. These are just really tracking and making sure I do it and hold myself accountable to it. Some of these other ones, big, lots of research, I need to do some thinking around that, lots of actions to take. And some of these ones are quite small. So planning 12 adventure days for our family. This is a term that we came up with when they were younger, and it's basically a day out. We live on the Gold Coast, so we're within a couple of hours drive. We've got a lot of different places we can visit, and where can we take them? What can we get our girls to experience? What can we do that is different? And so I want one of those a month. Now, they won't all be expensive. Some of them will be very simple. We just did our January one, and it got rained on. There was big traffic, and so we had to leave like 2 hours before even to do a 40-minute drive because the traffic going to roll over on the M1, and it rained. And so our adventure night turned into teaching our kids resilience while being soaking wet and still enjoying SeaWorld. And my other one is that both of us want to be really clear on spending time together. So I've organised the first couple of date nights. It's not something that we've done regularly. It's been really sporadic. My husband's really good with, hey, we have a weekend coming up where our kids are with the grandparents. I've already organised it. Your job, pick somewhere where we're going to go and book it for us, and we'll go from there. And then sometimes it'll just be hanging out at home. But I really want to do some quality time with hubby, and I want to keep him updated on where all of this is at. So that's going to be part of my goals as well. So then once you've got your 8 goals, you can then break them down into action plans. Now I'll give you an empty-ish one. So in an empty one, it's got plan and execute 12 date nights. So execute just means make sure I do it. It gives you some place to think about it, and then break down your mini goals. Now this is where I had trouble with the Powersheets and the tending list. So after you've broken down your mini goals, you then start looking in January at, I'll give you a February one. What are you excited about? What's going on? Got a calendar to plan with, and then your tending list. So the tending list are, what are you going to do this month? What are your weekly action items, and what are going to be your daily action items? And so what I found is that when I tried to break things down, there just wasn't enough room. So I started and wrote down healthy living, just getting into healthy habits, and then what I would need to do. And as I was writing it down, I'm like, it's kind of almost a sequential order. Some of these I really want to break down rather than just go. So for this one here, it was create skin routine. So in here, I really wanted to put down what I should be doing or what works for my skin, and I get really lazy about if I'm not being intentional about my time. So, but to do that, I needed to research and make sure I had everything I needed, and then I needed to write it out and put it on a little card. And then once I had it on a card, I needed to put it in the bathroom. And so I really wanted to break down all those little bits so that I could do them a little bit at a time, rather than just going and spending a chunk of time. Sometimes with young kids, especially on holidays, I just want to be able to do little jobs really quickly. So I then got the idea just to open up a Word document and write out my goals and sort of break them down a bit more, especially when we're talking about quarterly planning as well. I've never done quarterly planning before, but I love the idea of it. So how can I make it work for me? And for this, I ended up just making a Word template and then writing out what I want to do for January, and then I'll suss it out for February and March, and then maybe by the next quarter I'll have a clue and I'll be able to do it a little bit more. So I'm going to show you this. Okay. Alrighty, so over here we have got my health goal, which was my number one goal. And so that these were what I wanted to do over the year. In quarter one, I wanted to at least, the marker that I know that I've been successful in getting all these things in place is that I am down 10 kilos. So giving myself 10 kilos over the year, which will drop me down to where I need to be. I wanted to work on my workout routine, so that's my monthly goal. But to do that, these are the action items I really need to do. So walk my dog, visit the gym, work out at home, do 10,000 steps. And then, so they were all my physical things. A lot of those things I already do, but it was just a matter of putting them in a place where I knew I could check them off. I could put it in my planner at my weekly review at the end of every week, and I knew they were going to happen. So another one here was making healthy food choices. I wanted to make sure that I meal plan for each week. Again, put that into my diary. I'm going to be doing it. I wanted to research some more around some gut health recipes, and so when I was researching, I found out about looking at elastin and collagen. So I want to spend some time researching that. Track food in an app. I have always used MyFitnessPal. Is that still the best one to use? So I wanted to also choose some new recipes to expand my repertoire. A bit of self-care in here is that I'm going to be working out more. I'm going to book a massage, and I did that. In terms of that skincare part, I even broke it down further about what I want to do in there to be able to help myself out. I've done this for each of my goals as well. So especially with the girls ones, there was lots of little things I wanted to do, things I wanted to experience, and jobs I needed to do. It's a bit of a both. And then these were all the action items I wanted to do. So like parenting book. So I wrote down, choose the book, hire or purchase the book, make reading goals for the book so that it wasn't just about read a book. I've got a few more steps in between there to be able to help me get that happening. I've got my career, I did my finances, these are the more simple ones, like the social ones. Have an event with friends, plan it. And then I thought about who do we want to catch up with, so making a bit of a list of the people that are currently there, because remember my goal was to deepen and widen friendship circles. Alright, spiritual planner. This was a lot of to-dos this month, specifically like making sure I had my planner set up. I had thought about my card of the year and how that may come across in my year. Some jobs around there, my adventure days, planning those, and making sure that, for organising time with my husband, what would that look like? So that there is what it looks like, and then I just printed it out and popped it into here. And then the only reason it's green on the Word document is just I wanted to say that section was done. I was happy with it. I'm ready to print it. Just a mental note for myself. I then printed it and put it on top of my tending sheets. So every time I sit down to plan, so then I printed it out. And as I put something into my planner, I then highlight it off. It doesn't mean it's done. I will do that at the end of the month when I'm reviewing, but this just means that action has translated. And every single week I get in my planner and I go through what's here, my very extensive tending list, because there's a lot of stuff that I want to get done, and making sure that I'm taking steps to tick things off. I actually look at it more often than once a week. It comes out every couple of days. Especially if I'm having a super productive day, I might grab it and go, ooh, what else can I do? And launch into doing something different there. So that's what's working for me at the moment. It is currently the 13th of January, and I've had the most productive 13 days of the year I can imagine. I probably started this in December, if I'm honest. But it's working for me at the moment. That doesn't mean that things won't calm down and I'll be using the standard Powersheets, but this is helping. So this is what I'm going to keep on using. If you have any questions, pop them down below and I'll help out as much as I possibly can. And if you could like this video, subscribe, click the notification bell. I will be doing lots of videos around how do you get your goals, how do you plan them out, and how you can use planners to help you be able to achieve them. Okay, thanks.